Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Sylvester Inspires Belief Cast. Thank you once again for joining me. I'm so excited for our guest today to be on. His name's Jason English. Welcome.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me
I've
back
known
again.
You bet. Yeah, this is the second time Jason's been on, and he's a good friend, but also a colleague. I've been working with Jason for, I think it's been 6 years at least.
Yeah.
He is the outpatient operations manager for Wasatch Recovery Treatment Center in Sandy, and he does a fantastic job. I've admired Jason for years because of the way he lives his life. And what I mean by that is he's confident, he's assertive, he'll tell you exactly how he feels. He wants the best for people. He's a Black American, and it's another reason why I'm having you on, because I want to hear Jason's perspective of what's going on in our world today. Obviously, this is a very hot topic. And again, like I said, I respect Jason, and I want to learn from him today. You know, one of the reasons, I know why Jason's here, but why I'm here, and I hope why you're listening and why you're doing this, is that, you know, we're here to learn and understand and be educated, and to, at the end of the day, come together as one and love each other and do the compassionate thing with each other. And so anyway, Jason, I can't thank you enough for being willing to come and share your perspective on things. So thanks for being here, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. You know that. You can call on me anytime. I
know that. And thanks, listeners, for being here. And I need to thank our sponsor, Veracity Networks, as well. Thanks for being here as well. And so kind of, you know, let's give a little background on you, first of all, Jason. I know we did this in our first podcast, but for those that maybe haven't heard your story, and just tell us a little bit about where you grew up and a little bit of background on you.
Grew up a single-parent home in North Las Vegas, Nevada. Earned a college scholarship to play football after 4 years of playing high school football, of course.
Right.
Love sports, football, basketball, track. Came to Weber State University in the fall of '96, and I've been here ever since. I got married in the fall of 2003, and it'll be 17 years this year.
Oh, congrats.
Spent 15 years or more working with adolescent youth that are in the system, you know, for doing things inappropriately to others, and working through a program, treatment, things like that.
Okay.
Had a few friends that introduced me to Wasatch Recovery, and I've been here since 2014-ish, somewhere in there. And that's what I just feel I'm here to do, as a service to others. I love working with people, love seeing change in people, try to model by example.
Right.
That's just basically how I try to live my life, is model appropriate behavior.
Right. How did that get cultivated in you? I mean, I know I've known you for a while, and I know that is you. You love helping people. Was that cultivated by your upbringing, or is that
I would say it was my upbringing with my mom, very strict. I mean, I've said this before, you know, nothing but admiration for her and doing it the way she did it. Strict discipline. Again, it's just, you know, I feel it makes me feel good when I see others do good, because I already know what my limits and limitations are and what I can do. I mean, you said it, I carry myself a certain way, so I just want to put that into other people.
Right.
That no matter what they've been through, young, old, male, female, it doesn't matter. You know, they're a human being. I just want to see them do better than where they've been. That's all.
No, I love that. That's awesome. Obviously there's a big, I guess, what would you say? It's not even a movement. It's just a concern and a problem in our country.
Absolutely.
In the world, right?
Absolutely.
With racism and, this, obviously there's been a lot going on, but what happened with George Floyd, and that brought,
more attention to
way more
what's
attention
really going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just with George Floyd. There were many others before him, you know, and there have been several after him since. So it's not ever stopped. And I mean, again, hundreds of years, you know, through history, and, you know, of course, with the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, and trying to incorporate those things. We just want things to be on an equal playing ground, you know, for across the board, not because you're black or you're white or you're Hispanic or Asian. It's across the board, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. Everything should be straight across the board, you know, and everybody held to that standard, you know.
But, you know, if we really look at it, it's not, though. There really is. There's not the equality that we keep trying to preach, you know, hey, equality, 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 but it's not there.
And we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
I think we're making positive strides, you know, with what's happened and what's going on, but sometimes it's still falling on deaf ears.
Right.
You know, you sent me a post, and, you know, you're trying to communicate with people, but again, until the last minute where there's a collision or something bad happens is when people finally tune in or open their eyes or their ears and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And we just can't have bad things continue to happen before people realize those things. And that's where we just keep beating our head against a stone wall of listen, see, help, you know, help us, help me as I'm helping you, you know, and it shouldn't matter what we look like, you know, because of I'm not a criminal because of the color of my skin, but I at times get looked at or treated before you even know who I am or what I'm about. You know?
Yeah. So. Yeah. And you mentioned something about that collision that's going to happen when it keeps falling on deaf ears. Like, we need some help here. And I think that's ultimately what Black Lives Matter is. It's, you know, you and I have talked a lot about this over the last several weeks, and it's been great actually communicating with you, because I'm learning from you, Jason. But how it's not that phrase isn't saying we understand all lives matter. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but it's like, but we need help right now. And I think you explained it to me about this a house being on fire.
I heard it on I want to say it's Undisputed with or one of the sports radio talk shows with Shannon Sharp. And sometimes he annoys me, and sometimes I love what he has to say. Right now, I'm loving what he has to say.
Yeah.
Very well spoken. He's just saying, you know, you're in a cul-de-sac and a house is on fire, and the people show up and there's only one house on fire.
Right.
But yet people are saying all houses matter.
Yeah.
No, they don't. The house that matters right now is the one that's on fire. So let's put this fire out, and then we'll maybe spray your house down so it doesn't spread. You know? So that's all we're saying too, is right now our Black lives are being lost to the hands of white people still at times.
Yeah.
And that's tough to say, but if you open your eyes and your ears and watch and see what's going on in the world, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah. How is watching this, I mean, seeing these things that are happening to these Black Americans, you know, George Floyd being one example, and I know there's thousands.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect you when you saw that going on?
Being that it was a Black man and I'm a Black man, that could happen to me. That could happen to any of my friends.
Yeah.
I have friends of all races, you know, but when you get with my Black friends, we have these discussions. It could have been one that I've known for 15 years. It could be one that I've known for 2 years when we go out. It could have happened to anybody.
Yeah.
And the fact that it does, it just tears you up that we don't know him personally, but we feel that pain to where at any moment with any encounter that we may have, that could be us.
Yeah.
And why? And what could we have done differently so that we didn't get to that situation?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just tough. It's tough to watch. It's tough to think about. But again, it's the world that we're in. We have to educate and know what can we do to change those things and not have it happen again.
Yeah, and that's where I want to kind of go next with you, Jason, because I love your perspective on things. I always have. What can we do, in your opinion, to start going in the right direction? And what I mean by that too is, I'm white, and I want to learn more. I want to be more open. I want to be educated. I'm really in that mindset now, and I'm kind of upset at myself. It's like I should have been more like this years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, from your perspective, Jason, what can we do to be better? If you could point.
Few people have reached out and first of all, what I loved is that they checked in on me and how I was doing, you included, and that felt good. That made me feel appreciated and that I was in your thoughts.
For sure.
What I can't change and what other African Americans can't change is your perception of us not knowing us. So all I'm asking is that if you don't know, pick up a book, YouTube, educate, yourself, educate your children, mm-hmm. and it's not more or less of a history lesson of what we've been through, because no one living today, I think, who's white or black owned slaves or was a slave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these things happened years ago. What I'm getting to, in a sense, is just educate so that it doesn't continue to happen, and mm-hmm. that they know right and wrong.
Right. Yeah.
That's what more or less how I'm thinking about this and going through these things is right and wrong. Because I'm black and I do something wrong, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Until proven innocent.
Right.
Where if someone white does a crime, they're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
There's a flaw and a problem with our
mm-hmm.
justice system.
Yeah.
And we call it justice, but really, where's the justice at?
Yeah.
I just gave you two totally different views of looking at those things. If we go back to the George Floyd situation,
mm-hmm.
had that been a white man and a black cop, are we having this discussion?
No.
The world would probably still be in a little bit of an uproar, but it'd be a little bit more calmed down, because I'm pretty sure that cop would have been stripped right away that day and put in jail. But we took a few days, a week or so, before they decided to move forward with pressing criminal charges. Again, a lot of things need to change, and it's not going to just be with our discussion today or our discussions weeks from now. It's got to be continuous and quick and forth moving with mm-hmm. change. That's all.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the main reasons why I wanted you back on, because I do think we need to keep talking about this. And I know from my perspective, I want to learn more and I want to be better. I mean, I hate to admit this, but I mean, I really didn't even know what Juneteenth was. I'm to be honest with you. I wish I could look you in the eye and say, I knew exactly what it was. And, and you mentioned it the other day, and I'll be honest with you. I'm like, I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of people, and I went home to my family and I talked to my kids. I said the same. I asked them, you guys know what Juneteenth is? And they're like, no. And so I did what you had challenged us to do, is learn about it and get some more knowledge about it. So I started talking about it with my kids, and it was really powerful. But it helped me realize, man, I got to do better. I've got to up my game, because I want to be one to look you in the eye, Jason, and say, I love everybody. And I really do. I think that I do. But I also have to prove that by what I do, my actions, right?
Absolutely.
And so hearing that, I was like realizing, man, I've got to be better in that realm, you Yeah.
And I learned that with, coaching and even being coached a certain way, things like that in life, is I'm more on action. You'll tell me more with your actions than you ever will with your words.
Right.
Because words will stick,
Mm-hmm.
but your actions mean so much more.
Yeah.
The genuine feeling when we have conversations or we talk or we almost bring each other to tears because of the things we say or just that raw emotion, of what we're discussing, talking about. It's just real. I can see that.
Right. In that conversation we had earlier this morning with the video that you and I both have watched now, it was titled an uncomfortable conversation with a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Emmanuel. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. I wish I had that in front of me. I apologize, but it was very powerful in the way he said something. But he had a question on there. He says, basically, why do you think white privilege exists? And I wanted to see what you thought about that, Jason. What your thoughts around that would be. Why do you think that's even why it exists? I know it's a tough question, or at least it is for me.
When you say that, and now I think about it a little bit, because none of this was, I don't have questions. I didn't get to study anything
we didn't
like
script
that, which
this.
is great. Yeah, that's great. When I hear that, it's just that they've not looked at, and again, I've had a conversation with a coworker, recently, of just not wanting to be that guy that, because they felt maybe they were that guy, and it's just, again, if you take situations and just flip the script,
Mm-hmm.
and listen to things that are being said, the way they're being said, and just have an open mind and open eye to what you're seeing and what you're hearing, you'll understand that a little bit more. It's just looking at it differently. What we want our clients to do is to change their thoughts,
right?
Things like that.
We were talking off air about you saying like looking at it differently. We were talking about sports figures.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that on top of this.
And again, this is just a side talk, and we're just talking out, and I'm just saying things out loud. How can someone be racist yet cheer for an African American or a Hispanic or an Asian for sports? Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a conversation as to how you can, I don't want to say, what is it? Can't think of the word right now, but turn it on and turn it off because they're dunking a basketball or making a 3-pointer or catching a touchdown pass or drop a touchdown pass, and you love them or hate them.
Yeah.
Either way, but because of who they are, we use LeBron James as an example.
Yeah.
If LeBron James was an average Joe, you hate him because he's black, but we now know who LeBron James is and the person that he is,
right?
And you love him, but you don't see black. He's a black man.
Yeah.
Regardless, so tell me how that switch is turned on and off, whether you like someone or you don't like someone. Because to me, honestly, if you're a racist, you can't be a sports fan.
Yeah.
Love what they're doing with NASCAR. I've never been a NASCAR fan, but I know what that flag represents or represented.
Yeah. So
I have no use to want to associate with things that are supportive of that type of flag and what it stood for.
Yeah.
Because it didn't stand for good.
For sure.
Last time I checked, that flag lost the war, but yet we fly it like they won.
Yeah.
The only flag that flies and should fly is the American flag because that's where we're at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's almost, we forgot that flag was even involved in that. I mean, until it got brought up that they're getting rid of it, I was like, oh, I didn't realize it's been there for decades.
Absolutely.
Decades.
There's a lot of writing in what that flag represents. That is why it's so negative toward us and why we don't like it and can't stand for what that stands for. Now, again, we live in Utah. That flag still flies high in the South in some places with respect. And I'm like, okay, I'll try not to go down there.
Yeah.
You know, and
right.
You know, that's by choice too. That's by choice.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, one of the questions I wanted to ask you too, Jason, I think a lot of white people have this question. And do you want to be called a Black American or an African American? Or, I mean, what's the appropriate, and again, this might be uncomfortable for people because they think, what do I say?
I hate
because I don't want to offend. I mean, what do you think?
I love being an African American. I love being Black. I love also, you know, if you know me, I'm a product of a biracial relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm half white, half Black.
Yeah.
But when you look at me, you don't see white.
Yeah.
You don't. If a cop pulls me over, I can't say, well, you know, I'm half white. Don't hurt me.
Yeah.
I'm following. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's what you see. I look at myself as law-abiding citizen, human being, African American, whatever, you know, just be respectful, you know, in that.
So you're not offended if someone called you an African American versus a Black man? You get either one.
I get it.
I get it.
Okay. You know.
Yeah. Don't
get offended. Now, there's other words that you can say that I'll probably be offended by that we probably need to stay away from sometimes, you know. I don't like that word. And the word that we're talking about is the Nword.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, in the post that you sent is, you know, yes, Blacks, African Americans use it as a term of endearment to not think about what's happened in the past. Whereas if someone of another race uses it, it's derogatory. It's to hold us down. It's to be negative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it is in the dictionary. I haven't opened a dictionary in probably 20 years. But when the last time I looked at it, it doesn't say a Black man. You know what I'm saying? It's a person of negativity. Why so? Right. Why is that put on just the Black man?
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, that was like elementary and junior high when you're looking up words, trying to be funny and oh look, it's right there.
There's that word.
Like that. Right.
Yeah. So have you had experiences with people calling you the N-word, you know, outside of your own race where, you know,
not that I know of to my face.
Not
that I know of to my face, but I can't control what people think about me either behind my back. I can't control that.
Yeah. Well, you know what I love about you, Jason, is you're so confident. Like you just carry yourself well. Do you ever like walk into a room sometimes though and think, what are these people thinking of me? Or or you're just like, you know what, like you said, I don't really care because I'm going to do me. I don't know how do you handle that?
It's tough. That's a good question. But every day, there isn't a room I walk into that I don't question whether or not people respect or acknowledge that I am there and why I'm there, you know? And so I let my work do the talking. You know what I'm saying? I let my actions speak for myself. You know? But then also, I know when I first started working at Wasatch Recovery, you know, you have the 4 agreements, you know what I'm saying? And I should be able to ramble them right off the top, you know, off the top of my head.
Let's see if we can do it. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your word.
Impeccable with your word is the one. If I say I'm going to do something, that's what I want to do with people. You know what I'm saying? And don't take things personal is the last one. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But just that part of being impeccable, being impeccable with my word is if I say I'm going to do something with you or for you, then that's what I'm going to do.
Gotcha.
And then that's it. And I want the same.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I let my actions speak for myself, because you can talk to me on the phone and think you're talking to, you don't know.
Right.
And then when you come into my office or whatever, there's kind of like that, whoa. But that's me. That's in my head. It may not have been in your head, but again, I can only do so much, and I can only prove to you who I really am with my actions.
Yeah.
You know, and be impeccable with my word.
Yeah, well, I think that's why people love you, because that's who you are. You work hard, and your work kind of speaks for you. I'm going to do my best at everything that I do, and I love that about you. I think that's why you do so well in your job here at Wasatch. I just was, I always wondered, if you ever felt uncomfortable in those kind of situations, and because I could see why if you did, if and maybe if you go into a room of people you don't know, but the majority of the room is white, do you feel like, okay, these guys are judging me or they're looking down upon me? Does that ever cross your mind, or do you just still like, hey,
not necessarily,
it is what it is?
No, not necessarily. It is what it is. You're gonna love me or hate me. Once I open my mouth, you're probably going to hate me, because I tend to not bite my tongue and speak my mind, on a lot of topics. But,
sure.
In the workplace, and I've had this conversation, there's things that we should talk about at work and there's things that we shouldn't talk about at work. Because we work together doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be the best of friends either. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Right. In workplaces, there are groups and things like that, but there's conversations. I just don't even, I'm not educated enough, but that's on me. It's not because I didn't go to school or anything like that. It's because I'm not watching what happened on the news or read the USA Today at what happened here. That I'm not going to speak on it because I don't have the information.
Right.
And so I would rather, my silence though is not, I don't want to say that I'm agreeing with everything that's being said. I just don't want to put my energy into that either sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I feel my energy is valuable and I don't want to waste it on useless conversations sometimes. And
right.
There can be, not just in the workplace either, but there can be useless conversation that we don't even really need to spend a lot of energy on. Yeah. What we started this conversation off with what's going on in the world and Black Lives Matter, that's what we all should be talking about,
Right.
And and it doesn't have to be in the workplace. In my office, we talk about daily topics all the time, to the point where we get sick of it and like, we're not going to look at the news today. We're not going to talk
right.
about this today because it's draining too.
Yeah.
Emotionally, and some of us are starting to feel it physically. I'm tired, Todd. I might not look like it, but I'm tired. I'm beat up, sometimes with everything that's going on. Yeah. There's a great quote that we used to recite. Evictus, my head's bloody, but I'm bowed. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a part of it. But I'm beat up. I'm tired, but I feel that there are a lot of people counting on me too, that I can't let them down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel that they're looking at me sometimes for their strength.
Yeah.
And little do they know that I'm looking at them for my strength.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who it is,
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who it is, male, female, gay, straight, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. I need strength too from everybody I come encounter with.
Yeah. Very, very well said. So with that said, I mean, what's your take on the protests and / riots that have been going on? I mean, I want to hear, do you understand why they're rioting?
Absolutely. As we're talking, they can be doing, in the post that you sent me, and I even saw this weeks ago, why people do this is because their voices don't matter.
Yeah.
So they do this so that they can express the pain that they're going through. Yeah. And if you watched it, and I watched it from day one, it's not just blacks. It's whites, Hispanics, Asians. I will always say every race in a sense too, because we are all one race.
Yeah.
We are. We're human beings.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that voice, like a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? But even their voices sometimes are not heard. Mm-hmm. Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, we talked about
I love Colin Kaepernick when he was in college at the University of Reno, Nevada, Reno.
Yeah.
Doing what he did at Reno, what he was doing in the NFL, running for a lot of yards, throwing for a lot of yards. And then he started to see things were happening in the world that he wanted justice for.
Right.
It's never about some people made it about the flag. It's never about the flag. We all know that. And I think after 4 years now
we're seeing
today we're starting to see that it was never about the flag. But then some people want to make comments that it's disrespectful to take a knee and do this and do that. But you also have the military telling you these things, that it's not that's why I fight. That's why I fought for this country, so that he can do that and do it in a peaceful way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got off, but
no, this is perfect. No, it's perfect. Well, I want to stay on this just for a second. I'll be honest with you. When he was kneeling, I thought I got it when Colin started doing that. I thought I got it, but I understand it way better now. I wish I would have understood it better back then, if that makes sense. Again, I'll be honest with you. I didn't dig into it. I didn't educate myself. I didn't do what I probably should have done in those moments. And again, I think we all need to take a good hard look in the mirror and say, what do I need to do to be better? And so, and that part of that is being educated. And I love you because you're educated, because you really, you know what you're talking about on a lot of things, because you educate yourself. And that's the part of why people really gravitate towards you, because it's inspiring. But you're right. If we understand, it's not about the flag. It's about the injustice that's going on. And for Colin, for his perspective of what was going on with the Black Americans and what they're going through. It's like, people, we need help,
Absolutely. But yeah, I just think with the rioting and whatnot, it's the voices of frustration, hurt, anger being let out in sometimes a peaceful, sometimes an unpeaceful manner, but again, it's just their voices are unheard. So they're just letting that go, and we're doing it together. What I love is that we're doing it together, and we're not hurting each other. They want us, I feel there's things that they want to keep us divided and separated. Why? Why?
Yeah.
But I don't want tragedies to have to happen and continue happening in order to keep bringing us together, just so that we have another tragedy, or words are mixed or anything like that that keep us divided.
Right. No, I that's, again, very well said. So as we go through this, as we move forward, what changes do you think need to be made as we move forward in this, just from your perspective? What would you like to see happen, from your point of view?
Had this discussion with you that I've tried to unplug myself from social media this last week or so, just because my mind and, again, I'm still tired, but my mind and everything's going on. There's just overload of all this information, and then it brings out negative vibes in me or angers me, things like that. But I'm in control of all that stuff too. The direction, laws need to be looked at. Laws need to be rewritten. Laws, I feel that, of course, police training. I don't have day-to-day encounter with police.
Right.
Some people may have month-to-month, week-to-week encounters with the police. I try to reflect and just it's not about me, and look at how others are going through things sometimes.
Right. And
I just think that with training, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with the police or anything like that. I'm just saying, I saw a post that a barber has to go through 1,000+ hours of training to become a barber.
Right.
Or a hairstylist or whatever. And a police officer, half of that to become a police officer. Cultural diversity, knowing how to talk to people.
Right.
Don't be afraid of me or afraid to approach me because of the color of my skin. If you come at me with respect, you're probably going to get respect.
Yeah.
You teach people how to treat you.
Exactly.
Got that from a therapist 15 years ago, and I've never forgotten it. And I just say, you teach people how to treat you. So again, don't be afraid. You've been through trainings. Sir, ma'am.
Yeah.
We're already looking at you as someone of authority, or should.
Yeah.
And treat you with respect. Do the same thing with us. I said that partway through our first talk is, things can go left or right real quick.
Right.
All in the approach.
Yeah.
And it's just about calmness, respect. Again, it's a non-violent thing.
Yeah.
Then treat it that way. It doesn't need to escalate and go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds.
Right.
It never should.
Right.
So we all know that you want to go home as I want to go home.
Right.
Let's do that together.
Yeah.
No,
I love that. I know the Other Side Academy is trying to be part of the solution. Dave DeWarsher, we listened to him talk a week ago or so, and he was talking about how they're trying to bring cops together on how they can be better of holding each other accountable as cops. We all know there's a lot of great cops out there that are putting their life on the line every day.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately there are a few bad ones, but that's in everything, right?
Absolutely.
And right now I think what they're doing is really cool because they're trying to bring them together, saying, hey, what can we do is help you guys learn how to hold each other more accountable with each other. I thought that was really powerful when Dave said that to us.
I did too, bridging that gap, because here we are. I hate to look at the clients that we work with as criminals. They're not. They've done some bad things, but who hasn't?
Right.
We've all got some things that we are not proud of. So that as we change those things, and that program, the Other Side Academy program, they're working on changing things in their life. Now, probably had issues with police in the past. So he's bringing them in, having conversations with them, bridging that gap. How can we help here? How can we help there? That's awesome. And I commend him for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's how there are, like you just said it, there's good and bad in everything. But when that bad comes out, there's got to be more good that holds that bad accountable and checks it.
Yes.
Or this may not be the best job or situation for you to be in.
Right.
And you need to be okay with being called out on that and change that, or keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Right. Yeah. If there are people listening to this right now who are struggling with this whole thing, you just said you're tired. You're getting worn out. You feel beat up a little bit, not maybe more, even a little bit, but a lot. What would you tell someone that's kind of in that same mindset right now? They're just tired. They're, tired in the sense emotionally. Like what advice could you give them to keep moving forward? Where someone does feel kind of beaten down and we're not getting anywhere, because you think about it with the pandemic, with again, what's going on with the riots and the protesting, it's overwhelming for a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of kids, younger kids, who are just like anxious because they're like, this world looks like it's falling apart. What advice could you give them right now, Jason?
I would say definitely not isolate and not talk about these things with people you love or trust, and again, I need to check myself and make sure I'm doing the things that I'm now talking about. My buddies and we go golfing a few times a week, just to kind of stay in a routine. I think detoxing from social media sometimes, but I mean, everything is at our fingertips now. If we rewind, even 20 years ago, when cell phones didn't have cameras, and we didn't have access to the news at our fingertips by the click of a button, everything's a click away. You do have to detox and work out, keep your routine, talk. And I can't express enough talking, because my wife wants to talk, but we get to talking and it hurts her feelings. And I don't want to say she shuts down, but she doesn't want to watch the things that I want to watch to continue to educate myself because she feels bad that African Americans went through these things. But again, it's history, and it's not happening every day today like it did back then, but it's helping us get to where we can go. And we don't know where we can go from all of this. We don't know. We can't predict the future. We can only control what's happening right now. Yeah. And we can't change that. Happened in the past. It happened. I'm not saying get over it. I'm just saying use that as fuel, knowledge, things like that, so that it doesn't happen again. Yeah. You know, but again, everything I'm saying I need to do, you know. Yeah. But again, it's just every day in the post that you sent me, I make conscious efforts every day to not put myself in a situation to get looked at a certain way, no matter what, but I'm going to be looked at a certain way. Sure. And make sure that people feel safe and that I don't when I say I don't let others down. You know, I want to help and continue helping others. That's what I feel I'm here to do. That's what I want to do.
Well, Jason, you're such a good guy, seriously, and I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable, but you really are.
No, it's uncomfortable, of course.
I know.
it's tough, but
you really are. You're a good guy, and everyone that knows you would agree with what I'm saying. And I think that's the message. If you, like you say, if you don't know me, come talk to me. Get to know me. Mm-hmm. You know, let's talk. You know, we can mutually respect each other, but we don't know unless we talk and we communicate. It's okay. Right. Like you said, you know, and I'll say this: you're very approachable. Go talk to Jason. You know, reach out to him. You know, I'm learning this is I need to be more educated. I need to listen more. I need to have conversations just like we've had today. This has been so good for me, and I know our listeners who are listening to this is going to be so good for them. And I think for me, it's about having compassion and love for everyone.
Absolutely.
Right now, though, Black lives need that love and compassion more than anyone right now, as a whole. Right? I get it. There's people are suffering everywhere, but this is like you said. Like I love that analogy about the house is on fire. This house is on fire right now. Let's go put it out, and whatever that looks like, let's put it out with that love and compassion and being educated and learning and listening. So. Very, very well said. That what you've been telling us today, Jason. I can't thank you enough for being willing to share.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We can probably even go deeper and deeper, but again, this is just off the cuff.
Yeah, you know? No, absolutely. If someone wanted to reach out to you and just get a hold of you or ask you questions about this from your perspective, which would be really good, what would be the best way for someone to hit you up?
I would say my cell phone is the best number. My number is 801-710-0474 anytime. It's always on me.
Yep, Jason English. That's pretty powerful. He's given out his number to a lot of people right now. But Jason is the guy that he's approachable. So please reach out to him. If you're listening to this and you have questions on how you can handle certain situations with someone from another race, reach out to Jason and ask him, and he will give you an answer, and he'll take time to talk to you. And so, any parting words for us, Jason, before we wrap this up?
Many, but no, I'll just say thanks, Todd, for having me, and I appreciate it anytime you need me. I'm here. Love the open forum and conversations that we have, not just today, but over the past few weeks. For sure. Just raw emotion. Yeah. And got a little emotional today. I could see and feel. So, no, I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, Neil. I appreciate you. Well, there you go, listeners. Another amazing Belief Cast. Jason English, a great individual. and very well educated. But again, the thing I admired most about Jason is his confidence in the way he carries himself and the way he treats other people. We need to be more like him. So please reach out to him. Reach out to me if you have any questions regarding this. Again, we're just trying to keep this conversation going so we don't forget what's going on, so we can make changes and be better people. Love you guys. Again, Veracity Networks, thank you so much for your sponsorship. And for your listeners, thank you so much for all your support. Until next time.